All right, let's dive right in. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're completely decoding the wealth-building playbook of the top 1%. We're breaking down exactly how they build their fortunes from the ground up, no matter what income level you're starting at. We're looking at a pretty fascinating system. It's called the 25, 15, 50, 10 wealth rule. Basically, it's a step-by-step blueprint for taking total control of your money, instead of letting your money control you.
It's kind of jarring when you really look at the makeup of the absolute richest people in the world. 75% of them are entrepreneurs, and 15% are investors. But the real kicker? Literally 0% of them are just employees who only earn a salary. You know, every single group in that top tier has one major thing in common. They own things. Entrepreneurs own businesses, and investors own assets.
And it really all boils down to this harsh but absolutely true reality. If you don't own something, you are what's owned. I mean, so many of us get trapped in this modern-day paycheck-to-paycheck cycle, right? You get paid, you pay for your shelter, your food, your water, and then you just wait for the next paycheck to survive. It's kind of the illusion of freedom. So, to break out of that cycle and actually learn how the 1% build wealth, you've got to make that shift from being an employee to being an owner.
So, that brings us to the actual framework we're using today. The 25, 15, 50, 10 rule. We're splitting your income into 4 distinct buckets. 25% for growth, 15% for stability, 50% for essentials, and 10% for rewards.
Let's kick things off with bucket number 1. That is 25% dedicated strictly to growth assets.
Now this 25%, it's not about personal growth. This is strictly about putting your money to work for you in the background, and you really need to find the cash to do this right now. Here's why. Let's look at Billy and Phil. Billy starts investing just $200 a month at age 20. Phil waits until he's 30, but he tries to catch up by investing $300 a month. Fast forward to age 60, Billy has contributed $96,000 of his own money, while Phil has actually put in more. He's put in $108,000. But because they were investing and not just throwing cash under a mattress, the outcome is just wild. If we assume an average historical 10% annual return, like tracking the S&P 500, Phil ends up with a very respectable $678,000. But Billy? He walks away with over $1.2 million. He invested less of his own money, but ended up with almost 600 grand more, simply because he started a decade earlier. I mean, that is the undeniable magic of compound growth. Okay, so what do you actually buy with that 25%? Well, you have to think about assets on a risk scale. At the low-risk foundation, you've got index funds, which is basically buying a small slice of the entire market, so you're not trying to guess which single company is going to win. Then, moving up to medium risk, we have real estate, or even investing in high-income skills like coding or sales. High risk, that's where individual stocks or starting online businesses live. And right at the top are the moonshots, like crypto or collectibles. The top 1% always build their wealth on that low-risk foundation first. So definitely don't go gambling your rent money on some random dog coin until your foundation is absolutely rock solid.
Now, to protect all that growth, the wealthy make sure they aren't paying unnecessary taxes. Depending on where you live, you really need to be utilizing tax-advantaged accounts. If you're in the UK, a stocks and shares ISA shields up to £20,000 a year. In the US, the Roth IRA lets your money grow totally tax-free. I mean, billionaire Peter Thiel famously used the Roth IRA to turn his investments into over $5 billion, completely legally shielding it from taxes. Oh, and if your employer offers a 401k match, take it. That is literally free money.
But for this to actually work, it has to be automatic. Open a platform account and set up a transfer for the exact day you get paid. Seriously, you shouldn't even see this money hit your checking account. A super popular hands-off strategy for this is the 3-fund portfolio. You just mix US stocks, international stocks, and bonds based on your age and risk tolerance. Once that's automated, your only job is to stop staring at the charts and get back to focusing on increasing your actual income.
All right, moving on to bucket number 2, 15% for financial stability. This is all about protecting your progress.
Look, without this bucket, one unexpected bill, like a blown transmission or a surprise medical emergency, can completely wipe you out and force you to sell your growth assets at a massive loss. So you need a stability fund. This is not just random savings. It's a mathematically precise reserve equal to 5 months of your core baseline expenses. We're talking ranked, groceries, utilities, the absolute bare minimum essentials to keep you functioning. Not your streaming subscriptions. Just multiply your bare bones monthly baseline by 5, and boom, that is your bulletproof target number.
And the rules for where you store this money are incredibly strict. First up, you have to be able to access it within 24 hours. No lockup periods.
Second, zero risk. Do not put this money in the stock market or crypto, because if an emergency hits while the market is tanking, you are in major trouble. And third, it needs to always be earning interest so inflation doesn't just eat it alive. Park it in an FDIC-insured high-yield savings account to safely earn that 4 to 5% entirely in the background.
Now, stacking this cash quickly is totally doable if you use these 3 tactics. First is paycheck. Again, automate that 15% transfer the absolute second you get paid. Second is the replacement promise. You do have to dip into this fund for a genuine emergency. Replacing it becomes your absolute #1 priority with your next paycheck. And third, a really little hack: save by spending. Just round up apps and cashback credit cards as long as you pay them off entirely every month. Funnel that free extra money right into your stability fund. Okay, next up is bucket number 3, and it's the big one: 50% capped for essentials. It's actually pretty shocking, but over 60% of people making over $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. And why is that? It's because they confuse luxuries with absolute essentials. You have to remember, wealth isn't what you see, it's what you don't see. It is ridiculously easy to fall into the ego-trapped lifestyle. Buying a flashier car or wearing designer clothes just to look rich, while secretly sweating over missed payments and having zero investments. Real wealth is that quiet $1,000 sitting in a compound away, not the loud designer you swipe on a credit card. So to keep your essentials strictly under that big cap, you've got to ruthlessly attack the 2 biggest wealth pools: housing and transport. Always try to renegotiate your rent or look into housing. Splitting rent roommates, renting out a spare room to offset your costs.
Man, car payments on brand new, rapidly depreciating vehicles are a massive wealth trap. Buy used, reliable cars, or if you live in a walkable city, maybe eliminate the car entirely. The amount of money you save on insurance, maintenance, and parking is just staggering.
Of course, temptation is literally everywhere, and willpower always eventually fails. But the top 1%, they don't rely on willpower. They build systems. So whenever you want to buy something, ask yourself if it's an impulse purchase. If it is, implement the 7-day rule. Just wait a full week. Honestly, most of the time you'll completely forget about it. But if you still want it after 7 days, ask yourself if you're buying it for the brand name or for the actual value it brings to your life. Always opt for quality, unbranded alternatives over flashy marketing.
And that brings us to our final bucket. Number 4, 10% for guilt-free rewards. Now, this might seem a little counterintuitive when we're talking about building wealth, but money is also about staying sane. The data shows that 92% of people end up wildly overspending right after they try to do a super intensive saving sprint. Because saving without any joy just feels like punishment, and that leads straight to burnout. This 10% reward bucket, it is not an excuse to be lazy. It's a highly calculated strategy to make your financial diet sustainable for the long haul.
But you want to focus on high-value rewards. When you're laser-focused on building wealth, it's dangerously easy to ignore your health or your friends. I know I definitely made this exact mistake early on, skipping dinners and birthdays just to save a few bucks. And honestly, I was miserable. Don't do that. Spend this money on vacations to de-stress. Spend it on hobbies that keep you passionate. Spend it on nights out to maintain your social network, and on gifts for loved ones to strengthen your connections, because experiences and relationships will always give you the absolute highest return on your fun money. To make this totally guilt-free, you want to preload the fun. Open up a completely separate bank account. Let's call it your Joy Jar. Automate a strict 10% transfer into this account every single month. But listen, here is the golden rule. You can never, ever top it up using money from your growth, stability, or essentials buckets. When that Joy Jar hits 0, you are done until next month. Setting it up this way lets you spend freely without feeling bad, because you know you're fiercely protecting your wealth-building goals. All right, let's wrap this explainer up with one final thought. This 25, 50, 50, 10 rule, it really isn't just a budget. It's the ultimate system that the 1% use to buy their freedom. It's a framework that forces you to acquire assets, build an unbreakable safety net, keep your ego in check, and still actually enjoy the ride. So ask yourself today, are you building a system to own, or are you just working to be owned? Hope this explainer was eye-opening for you. Time to start automating your system and take back your financial freedom.